Shout out to my people. Shout out to my people. Sending love, positivity, and good vibes to my people, man. I hope you guys are doing good today. I'm doing great. Today we got a clip of Charleston White, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Let's get it.
Whatever has happened to you in life, good or bad, is not your fault. Mm-hmm. And I say it twice, and I read the room and watch their body language.
It is crazy what happens.
Children mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. So if you have a question to why are these kids doing this, is it the home life? It's exactly the home life. Where did they learn this from? Children mimic what they see and repeat what they hear. They're sponges. So if you see a violent kid, he comes from a violent household. You see a sexual kid that's already sick, guess what? He's been exposed to sex. Yeah. You see a little girl that's always dressing promiscuous, guess what? Somebody's touching on her.
Yep.
So just pay attention to the kids' actions, and that'll tell you what's happening, what they see. You have to ask them questions. I don't come. I just come to give them an understanding that you didn't ask to be born. You can't choose who you was born to. You were just born in a situation and some condition that you have no power and control over, but what you choose to do. Yeah, you hurt, but when you know right from wrong, you know it's wrong to hurt somebody else even though you hurt. So that's what you go off for, nigga. Once you learn right from wrong, I don't care what happened to you. It's your fault when you learn right from wrong. Then I started realizing most of us don't know right from wrong because we've been in survival mode.
Yeah.
As from the time they've been in their mother's womb, from the time they daddy ejaculated, from the time you get them as a probation officer, they've been in survival mode. Their mother didn't take prenatal care. They wasn't breastfed. They wasn't going to the doctor. So they've been in survival mode. It's hard to be a human, to think rational, and you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So once I started understanding that, but I learned that from the boys' home, growing up in the boys' home. I didn't know kids went to bed hungry until I got locked up. I thought all kids had something to eat in the house. I thought most kids were protected. Like me, shelter. I didn't know some niggas fall asleep on the floor and that's their bed wherever they fall asleep at. I didn't know the only reason my partners was getting perfect attendance in school because this is where the only place they was eating. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know some of the most violent men in our communities and the niggas we scared of. The reason they're so violent because they was molested.
Yeah.
That's why violence is so prevalent among black men, is because they were molested or abused by a mother.
Yeah, it's, I've always said that everything comes from something, and you got to go deeper and you got to dig deeper. And, there's why when we talk about, the separation between white and black, right? I think we also have to address the white people, because that racism that happens, and especially because it's because of lack of education.
We don't know racism. If you were born in the 70s, if you were born in my era of black people, you ain't even seen racism. You don't even know how to identify it. There's a bunch of prejudiced people, but black people of today are more affected by the mother and their father than racism.
I agree with you.
So let's not even bring up racism. Don't look to white people. I tell niggas all the time, look at where your mom and daddy met. Let's start there. Did white people in slavery have any impact on your mama and your daddy when your daddy saw your mama in the club with her ass out? Did the white man tell your daddy to go over there and lie to your mama where they fucked that night? Was the white man in slavery involved when your mama let a nigga she don't know come in her pussy with no rubber? What the white man got to do with that? And when your mama went and told your daddy, it's my baby, and he said, bitch, that ain't my baby, what the white man got to do with that? Everything you're affected by in life goes to the root of where you come from, nigga. The roots and the fruit are one and the same.
I get what Charleston is saying, but I disagree. You can either look at it surface level or you can look at the bigger picture. I get what he's saying, and as black people, we do have to take accountability, and that's for sure. That's the first and foremost step in order to, change, is to acknowledge and to take accountability. But, to sit here and act like white people aren't the cause to where we are, when you gotta, like I said, you gotta go back from the start. You can't just look at the last couple years. Now, I will say it gotten so bad that our main concern isn't racial anymore. Our main concern is fighting ourselves, fighting the people around us in our environment, and then now it's even a gender war. So you got to fight your girl. You fighting with the cops. You fighting with your homies that switched up on you. You fighting with yourself to trying to be a better person. So I get what he's saying. You know, the white man is the last person, but we're not just going to erase them off the list.
So stop looking at white people. Go look at your mama. You got all your genetics and chromosomes from your mom and daddy. If you freaky, your mom and daddy were freaky. What was you exposed to? What did your mama do when she was pregnant for those 9 months? What conditions were her emotional state in? Man, don't tell me about no slavery and white people when that has way more of a bearing on your life than what happened 400 years.
Well, because it's easier to blame, it's easier to be a victim than to actually sit there and reflect. Because, you know, I know for a fact when I was born, my grandparents were telling my mom that you need to do an abortion. She shouldn't, like, everybody was telling my mom, you don't need to have this kid because you don't have a good relationship with the dad. It did affect me a lot, but, you know, and I always talk about my mom cheated on my dad. But the worst part is accepting the fact that it hurt me.
Yeah.
But I can't blame it on anything else. It's my mom still. I gotta love her regardless of what she's done. It's like, you know, if we're talking about kids, like, yes, they did something, but they're still children. There's still empathy. There's still something that you can forgive them with, instead of sitting here and saying, well, you know what? I hate my grandparents because they didn't want me. I can sit and say about that until I die.
Black children are giving excuses from the time they understand life.
Why?
They're giving excuses. Because the world wants them to be victims. They don't never want the black man or the black race to stand up erect. There are different kind of people when they don't have an excuse as victims.
Mm-hmm. And it's easier to control you if you are a victim. Like you said, you know.
The poor me.
Yeah.
The poor me. A poor me attitude is the start of depression, the start of violence, everything.
Mm-hmm. And you start spiraling and you start going.
Yeah. So, man, that's why my mother's words, all things work for the good of those who love the Lord and is called according to his will and purpose. And I said, Mama, all things? And I started throwing questions at her. She said, son, it don't say but. Mom, what about a kid being molested? Mom, I heard one of my friends used to get molested by his uncle. Mm-hmm. How that work good for him? I used to have some questions to try to prove that this is bullshit. Mm-hmm. Because I couldn't understand it. So I didn't read the Bible. I would hear my mother say shit and question her about it. Mm-hmm. I can't understand the Bible. And I heard a preacher say it's the Holy Spirit who writes God's word upon man's heart. So why I need that copywritten book to read it? I can't understand it at 15. I need God. Right now, I'm thinking about killing myself in the same cell my homeboy hung himself in. They won't give me a Bible. How do I get God? In spirit, like Mama said. Just talk to him, son. You think you need the preacher? You can say, can you have the chaplain come talk to me? Chaplain might not come for 2 days. So I asked God as a kid, can you remove the book and the man out of our way so I can have you directly, God? And he did that for me as a little boy. So I don't listen to shit a preacher say. And I ain't read no goddamn Bible. It's been copywritten too many times.
You know what's crazy? When I was a kid, I had exactly the same thought. I questioned my grandma because my grandma is very religious. I questioned her every single time, and she would be like, you need to pray and you need to read, because in Russia, you have to read the prayer that's in the book, and then you have to recite it. Mm. And I'd be like, I don't understand what the fuck is, I don't know what it means. And I started going,
I don't need the word of God. I need the spirit of God.
Exactly. Like, I need to feel it. And I always felt something. I always knew that, okay, I'm going to get out. Since I was 7 years old, I told my mom, I'm going to leave Russia. My mom was like, with what money? Where are you going? You know, because we didn't have money. I grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment. We didn't have nothing. And all of a sudden, and I was like, I'm not going to live here. And she's like, you don't even speak another language. Where are you going? You were born where you needed. You don't need to be there. And I said, no, I'm going to leave.
My mother have a letter that I wrote home when I was 14 or 15 years old. And I told her, Mom, I'm going to be big and famous when I grow up. People going to be talking about me like they was talking about Jesus.
And they doing that today. And they're doing that today. Isn't that crazy? I was 15 years old and I wrote that letter. But that's what I'm saying. Today, yeah. But I always say that I have an issue with parents imposing religion on kids because, you know, they sit there and they read Bible. But my question is, do they actually understand it?
Well, that's why I argue with a lot of podcast people. Could ask me, do you believe in God? You don't believe in God because God is intimate. Most people who talk about God really don't believe. Because I started to say, are you married? Well, no, I'm not married. When I say, man, fuck God. I don't think about God when I'm ready to fuck. out of wedlock. When I'm jacking my dick off watching porn. So don't come talking to me about God.
Right.
God is intimate.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. And so so that's why you don't talk. So people who talk God talk, I look at them and say, they full of shit. They hiding behind that.
Well, because God,
show me your God.
Right, because God is like on the paper.
My mama don't talk God, she live it.
Yeah.
I ain't seen mama drunk. I'm saying, man, I know my mama got to get horny. God can't be that powerful.
Crazy as hell. But nah, he's speaking facts. That was a gem when he said, my mother lived it. Like, I feel like the only way you can really believe in God is you got to live like God is living through you. So you got to be the example. A lot of people are talkers. A lot of people talk this, talk that, but how do they move? Who are they really, and what's their true intentions?
I ain't never seen I've never heard my mother cuss anybody out. I ain't seen her angry. So I got a living testament that's been reading the word, walking with the word. When I heard somebody out here say it, you drink. My mama don't. My mama was a foster parent. My mama adopted. She focused on the least of those. She does prison ministry. My mama was a foster parent with Lena Pope Home for CPS for over 25 years. She nurtured children, trauma and hurt children and abused children back to life. And it was the light, and they still call mama today. So I got a living testament of a God. So fuck I'm gonna listen to a preacher for. And I've been trying to prove her wrong since a kid. Mm-hmm. And I ain't been able to prove her wrong with her God.
Have you ever heard of a book called Conversations with God? Mm-mm. So it's a very powerful book because the very ending of the book, it says, God is you, God is within you. And I remember I was arguing with somebody who was studying theology at Stanford, and I literally showed him the last page of the book. The man changed his major the next day to math because he said, I'm not going to study theology because it doesn't do much to me. God is me, God is within
Theology
me.
and religion takes you off the path of the true God.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because it gives you a God. It don't give you the relationship and the connection to your God, which is self.
Yeah.
Everything that you want to know about God is in the spirit of who you are. So you have to find the spirit, but we looking outside in the book. The spirit don't come out of the scripture reading the book. You're going to have a situation in your life that's going to activate that God in you. Yeah. Your mother go die, something going to happen that's going to be bad for you to find that good. And that's what prison has been for black people. Mm. So that's why I recommend prison for black boys. I recommend it.
In the current setting, how it is?
Yeah, I recommend prison. I think you should lock 9-year-old boys up until they grown.
Because of their parents?
Because I've been doing what I call a independent qualitative study on the effects of prison. Prison has more of a positive effect on families and black males than any other institution in American society, including marriage, in public schools, in college. Only thing can top the prison system in producing great black men is the military. Because they're both the same.
Because it has structure, it has
discipline.
It has discipline and also has authority and control.
The black boy don't have it nowhere else. He's coddled in every level of society.
But do you think it only applies to black boys? Does it apply to any other race?
No other race.
Why?
No other race.
And this is why I disagree with Charleston. Just like I said earlier, he attacked the black parents for being the root problem. But in the same breath, you're going to praise the military and you're going to praise prisons, which were built by the white man. So, like I said, you can either look at it surface level, but you can't, contradict or use both is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? You can't say it's black parents is the problem, but then once you speak on military and you speak on prisons, you're praising the white man.
We're the only people that's been done like this, that you can do like this.
But I feel like
no other race. So listen, no other race of people have been directly programmed by white people other than us. Mm-hmm. No other race. So it's like they have a spell on us.
But I also feel like white people have this idea, like they're groomed in this privilege, right? And so I think that's also affecting society negatively.
Show me 1 in 3 that's going to prison. See, we have a number that sits over unborn children's head.
Well, I think the white kids, the ones that born into like crackheads families and heroin addicts and all of that, like those are the ones that...
Even our children born in 2-parent homes go.
Mm-hmm.
Even our children born in well-to-do communities, great mothers, God-fearing mothers, non-criminal, not on drugs, they go too. Mm-hmm. Because the statistic says 1 in every 3 black males in America will go to prison or be on some form of community supervision in their lifetime.
But you think it's prison not changing the school system?
Mm-mm.
What if the schools were boarding schools like you had? Would that work? No?
How you gonna undo the trauma and the pain that these kids show up at the school with?
Well, if they're living there, if it's a boarding school.
Who go pay for it?
The government, I hope. They're not, I know, but like, let's say we're in...
Then we become Russia again. If the government has to fix...
Hey, but it works.
But it doesn't work. But now, because now you're being controlled.
But prison controls you too.
No, it don't. They getting high in prison.
What? There are leeways.
Prison just puts you in a place where you can't get out and hurt public safety, but the prisoners run the prison.
Charleston is a pro at debating and making his side look right at all times. You know, he can flip and flop something to make him always seem right. But I think that there's chinks in what he's saying. Like I said, you can't praise the military and you can't praise prison systems without, you know, looking at that as also a deficiency. It also has to be a negative role. You can't just say there's prisons and, you know, it's good for them to go to prisons, but then in the same breath say, well, the prisoners run the prison. You know what I'm saying? That contradicts what you're saying. I do believe, first and foremost, it's very important to be able to look into the mirror and have self-reflection and, you know, want to change and have the willpower to cut off your vices. And like he says, from trauma and your parents and how you was raised, all that stuff contributes and is very important. But you also can't disregard the environments we're raised in, the mentalities that are forced upon us, you know, the genders that we're exposed to and what goes on. There's so many things, from how we make a dollar to corporate to the government system. There's so many variables. So, you know, I'm not trying to say that one is important and it's not. I'm just saying you got to look at the bigger picture and you have to be able to say, yeah, this can affect you, but this also can affect you. And it does affect certain, you know, group of people. This may not affect a certain group of people. This may affect a certain group of people, you know, so it all basically plays a part.
Well, and you can do a lot of things in prison. At this point, I'm like...
So the answer and the solution and the antidote to our problem is focusing on prenatal care and mothers. Let's get the babies right when they start forming.
Yeah.
Because by the time the baby get here, the mother have already given and set a temperament for this kid based on her conditions and environment of 9 months. Mm-hmm. So now when the kids go to school, what resources do we have for elementary children and they're not in trouble? We focus on the kids that's in trouble. It's all the help in the world for kids that's in trouble, not for the kids that's out of trouble.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
We focus on 3rd grade literacy tests.
Yeah.
They do. We don't. We're the only ones having this problem. The Jews, not the Asians, not black children are the only ones having this problem. Yeah, other children are having but it's something specific about ours that don't apply to nobody else's.
Yeah, I feel like most cultures are more focused on the relationship first and then the kid second. A lot of the times, you know, in our culture, it's not rare for a couple to want to have a kid before they even get into a relationship. So I feel like, you know, the gender divide is our biggest issue, and us coming together first. You know, he's talking about when the kid gets here. I feel like it's most important to have planned pregnancies. and not just sleeping around or not knowing the, just being in situations where it's like, you know, all these other races, they're prepping and planning and building an empire for once the kid does come, the kid can fit into a lifestyle where the kid can flourish. We do the completely opposite. We put ourselves first and we focus on ourselves, which that's exactly how the government can divide. So, how you guys feel about the video? I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you guys, like the content. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. We out.